Hi everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. It is Saturday morning, and as the whole world knows by now, Prince Harry has lost his right to appeal the Ravik decision about his IPP status. That's right. In court yesterday, the judge admonished Harry as he dismissed the case, basically saying, your sad feelings don't a court case make. There's nothing here to dispute. Now, Harry has lost his goons with guns. He's lost the motorcade for Meghan. He's lost his IPP status. And more important, I think, to Harry and Meghan, the loss of the intelligence, because as long as he had this IPP status, he'd have access to intelligence. Let's just say, he'd have access to what the royals are up to. Pass that along, maybe. It's just far too dangerous. And I think the royal family, I think the British government, I think everybody knows that now, that Harry is a traitor. He can't be trusted. Meghan is as diabolical as they come. She can't be trusted. I think this was, truly a signal to them that, no, you're done. And I mean, within, I don't know how long it took, less than an hour, Harry was on the BBC having an interview, and it was quite something. I watched it. I took a couple of notes. He called the whole thing, quote, a good old establishment stitch-up. Everybody's out to get Harry and Meghan, It was just they were so darn popular in the royal family once she joined them that the royal family was terrified that they were just gonna, rule the roost there, and so they had to squelch them. I mean, it's just playing the victim. He says, oh, I've been treated differently than anybody else. Unbelievable. He blames the Ravik decision on the royal prerogative, his father, because one of the members of the Ravik committee comes from the royal household. Of course, you got to have somebody from the royal household on the committee. Well, so he's just always playing the victim. He's doubling down on that. He's blaming the royal family, his father, Ravik. He feels so hard done by. He has even asked the Prime Minister and the Home Office Secretary to step in on his behalf. The arrogance of this man. He and Meghan walked away from the royal family, from their duties. He walked away from his patronages and his duty. Very recently, we've seen him walk away from Centibelli. Unbelievable. Yeah, he's saying that they were pushed out. The whole premise of this interview was that they were forced out. Not true. They were making media deals. They were hatching media deals behind the scenes in 2019, long before Brexit. Harry complains, my life became devalued overnight. Well, yes, it did, because people saw your true colors. You threw away everything. You threw everybody under the bus for your own selfish incentives. That's it. That's why you became devalued overnight, because people saw who you were. He will never accept that his status has changed, and it has changed due to his actions. His and Megan's. He's still playing the victim. And then he has the audacity to say, oh, public service is my life. Self-service, not public service. He says he feels very let down by the UK and its people. In the past he's called them all racist, But even so, Prince Harry says he can forgive the press. He can forgive his father and his brother and his stepmother. He claims the royal family took the status away when they wanted to leave in a bid to force them to stay, basically saying, if you leave, everything is gone. And then he was friggin' shocked when they did pull everything when they left. He thought it was like a game of chicken. He didn't believe that they'd actually do it. But he claims this. But wait, because like earlier and all through the interview, as I've already said, he's claimed they were forced out. No. But either way, he can be a victim. He doesn't have to keep his story straight. He's calling for reviews of the Ravik decision, of Ravik, from the government and the Home Secretary. Good luck with that, Harry. Even a Labour government that is not pro-monarchy won't side with you. Not now. Not now. His family's decision to withdraw security signaled, in his words, quote, every other government in the world about their drop in status. As well they should. It's a warning shot across the bow to the rest of the world from the royal family. You can't trust this guy. And this is the whole thing, is the status, the whole IPP. Not only the motorcades and the goons with guns, that Harry and Meghan desire, but it's the access to intelligence, I think, is the sticking point, and the one thing that the palace does not want Harry to have any access to whatsoever. They don't want him to have access to the royal family's itinerary or threats or this or that, because who knows what he'll do with the information. We already know he's a traitor to not only his own country, he's a traitor to the country he's adopted, America, working behind the scenes to get rid of the Second Amendment, working behind the scenes to control speech and the internet. And, he's a globalist. The whole travelist thing, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore or if he's involved anymore. But he can take as many private jets as he wants, but we have to be conscious of the way that we travel. Oh, by the way, talk about Harry and traveling, and he's in Las Vegas this weekend. That's right. It's the Diana Awards. So even though him and Meghan harp on about what hands-on, wonderful parents they are to those imaginary children, yet, here we go. Archie's 6th birthday. Harry is such a good father. He's not going to be here for Archie's birthday. He's in Las Vegas living it up. That's right. And this is not the first time he's missed Archie's birthdays. In reality, Harry's missed more birthdays than he's attended. If they want us to know. But they're great parents. And they're doing everything for the safety and care of their children. I mean, it's just appalling. It's ridiculous. You know, it's just ridiculous. But here we go. You know, even after all of this, everything they've done, everything they continue to do, bashing his father in this recent interview, even after all of this, he still wants reconciliation. Quote from the interview: "For me and only me, there has to be a royal obligation in order to receive protection in the UK soil, on UK soil." So he thinks he's more important than anybody else on earth. For me and only me, there has to be a royal obligation. He really thinks he's bloody pretty important. He walked away from that which made him important. He's a Z-list celebrity now. He doesn't engage in public service. He engages in photo ops and shady deals. And we've all seen through it now. And as I've said before, both he and Meghan believe themselves to be far more important than they actually are. So where does this leave us now? Meghan's got to be just seething over this. Can you imagine? Harry's not going to want to pay for a 5-car motorcade. And after this news makes the cycle around the world, what cities are going to pay to give them all this security? How long is it going to be before they start realizing the truth of the situation, right? But what I'm also wondering, now that we've had this decision, Meghan's going to feel like she's got to do something. Oh no, create some drama. That's right. They took our security away and then look what happened. Like the fake fire in Australia in Archie's room, the fake car chase in New York. It's going to be something. It's going to be something. Because even in the interview, Harry goes, "Oh, I don't want to happen, history repeating itself," and something like his mother's to everything. He's terrified that Meghan's gonna, die in a car accident like his mother or something, and it's his life work to make sure that doesn't happen. She's really got him brainwashed. But, so she's gonna pull a stunt. I'm pretty sure I'm calling this one. The next thing we're gonna see is some kind of a stunt. And you say, well, what would it be? The fake car chase in New York didn't go over well. People saw through that pretty much right away, and even the chief of police and the mayor said, impossible, it never happened. They've refuted the story. So it's got to be something. And I've said this before, and I think what the stunt is going to be, because she can't do anything that's actually going to harm herself. You see, she wouldn't let, she's not that crazy. I think she's going to stage, there's going to be a robbery, maybe when they're at home, maybe when they're away at a hotel. Couple of things. Kim Kardashian just has been going through the whole court case, and remember a few years back the robbery in Paris and how it traumatized her. But I mean, who travels with $500,000 worth of jewelry? Well, Meghan does. she puts it all on her wrists and everything else, everything she's got. An interesting uh, parallel with this, again, and I've been talking about it lately, is the time loop. If you've been following that, way back in, I think it was 1937, Wallace and Edward, who were living in Paris at the time, came back to Britain. They were visiting friends out in the country, right? A country estate, a big fancy mansion country estate. And they were going to be going out to dinner that night in London to Claridge's. Now, when they arrived, Wallace brought just like a shoebox, a little cardboard box full of like $100,000 worth of, I don't know, just a bunch of jewelry. Now, at the estate, of course, their friends they had, there was a safe. There was an opportunity to put the gems away so they'd be safe during their visit. No, Wallace just tucked them under the bed, can you imagine? And wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it when they're out to dinner, right? The estate gets robbed, and the only thing missing is the shoebox under the bed. So, of course, they alert the authorities to the robbery and make the claim for the insurance and list everything that was stolen. And even though at the time it looked shady as hell from all kinds of perspectives, in time they did win the insurance payout. Now, the twist to this story is, years later, after Wallace had died, Sotheby's was having an auction of some of Wallace's jewels and things, because during their marriage, Edward had showered her with just a ton of precious gems and jewelry. So at the auction, wouldn't you know, some of the pieces that were originally claimed in the insurance as having been stolen showed up at the auction. They were always in their possession. It was an insurance scam. And this is what I think we're going to see from Harry and Meghan. I mean, it goes right with the time loop. So we know that she's going to have to stage some kind of an event. I've said this before, and I've said this is what we're anticipating. I'm kind of waiting to see if this happens, if the time loop stays true, because it's so compelling. And now with this removal of their security and IPP status has made formal, I think she's going to want to stage a stunt. And I think that this is what it's going to be, because it won't bring any harm to her. She can, they're going to need the money. By the way, Harry's on the hook to pay for this whole thing, this court case. It's close to $2 million. I think £1.5 million. Anyway, but no. Now you say, well, what jewels could Meghan claim having been stolen? To make the widest impact, she's going to claim jewelry that supposedly came from Diana that's in her possession. The aquamarine ring. We've seen Meghan wear, but it's actually a reproduction. The butterfly earrings claimed to have been Diana's. You've seen close-ups. Look at, find photographs of Diana wearing them and Meghan wearing them. They're actually different. It's a subtle difference, but they're not the same earrings. They're reproductions. Same as the tank watch. all of these things. She could claim that they've been stolen. Oh, there's also, unless she's hot to him already, those jewels she got from the sheik, the great big earrings, $750,000 or something she got very early on. If she's still got those, you know, which they might be long gone, who knows? But stuff like that, and something like that, something like a robbery, even though it's all very dangerous and scary, you know, she won't be in any harm. And I mean, we know it's just a stunt. So this is what I'm looking for next. I mean, when's it going to happen? I would say, because Megan's going to be very manic, that it's probably going to happen pretty soon. We're going to hear something. And wouldn't that just be a hoot if it's a robbery? Because that would fit in completely with the time loop and the historical overlay of events that I have been documenting now for almost 3 years. So, you know, Harry and Meghan, not too happy this morning, I betcha. What's to come? I think we're looking at a stunt on the way. I think we're gonna see something out of Meghan, and I think it's gonna be pretty soon. Hold tight. Alright, hope you like this video. Subscribe, leave me a comment, share this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.